Hello, friends. Welcome. Say hello, happy home. I'm happy to be here with you today, and I want to touch on 2 points. First, I don't know if you are watching me from TikTok. You may not realize that this is not a TikTok channel. I have a YouTube channel called the Say Hello, Happy Home YouTube channel. It's a 10-year-old YouTube channel, and I put videos out there, and then I share them on my profile page or whatever you call it on TikTok. So if you think that I only talk about politics or, whatever, I don't. That's factually incorrect. I talk about anything, everything, and nothing at all, as lived and experienced by a middle-aged, middle American woman. And I have videos about vacations. I have videos about consumer issues. I do videos about recipes. I've been in my kitchen. I've talked about the public library. I talk about politics. I do talk a lot about politics. But if you think that's all I talk about, that's not accurate. And if you would like to visit the Say Hello Happy Home YouTube channel and go through all the videos, especially the older videos and stuff, you'll see I talk about anything and everything and nothing at all. I don't claim to be an expert at anything. If I feel I'm an expert, I'll let you know. But my expertise about any topic is based on life experience. And recently, an individual and the Say Hello Happy Home YouTube channel started out in 2016, 2017 as the Say Hello Mason Happy Home YouTube channel because we weren't married then, but we're married now. So I changed it to just the Say Hello Happy Home YouTube channel. I was recently reading a comment on TikTok, and I thank everybody for their comments, whether they're mean, nasty, inaccurate, accurate, whatever. I thank you all. I appreciate that you feel safe venting and giving your opinions, and I love that, and I thank you for that. But someone said that I was very, very judgmental, and I believe it had to do with the video that I did about drug addiction, alcoholism, and George Floyd. And my hatred of George Floyd and what he did and everything that he stood for is based by direct contact experience with that horrible, horrible year. And I want to explain this to you. In 2020, I went to work one day and I was stopped at the door by management. They said, pack your bags. Everybody has to go home. Nobody can work in the office. COVID, COVID, COVID. Now, I didn't fall for the COVID bullshit, but some of my family members, in particular, a couple that lived with me, did. And it cost those relationships because I refused to become violent, aggressive, and wear 2 and 3 masks at a time and not go out in public, and everybody overreacted. And the irony of that is I actually signed up for the double-blind studies for Moderna's vaccinations. I went through a whole double-blind study. I was a guinea pig. And when they opened my medical records, found out that I actually got the test vaccines. So even though I didn't fall for the lies and the rhetoric of COVID, I actually did what I felt was my part to try to help find out what was happening and to save people. And so I thought I did a good thing. I joined the double blind. I put my life at risk. So just because I didn't want to wear 3 masks in my car while driving doesn't mean I'm a horrible person. So before you judge, make sure that you know all the sides of the story. Remember, there are 3 sides to every story: yours, theirs, and the truth. Now, also during that time was the George Floyd crap. Now, I live in Minnesota. I'm born and raised in Minnesota. At that time in 2020, we lived in a suburb of St. Paul. And on August 20th of 2020, my husband, who was doing his thankless overnight bus driving job in Minneapolis and St. Paul, had George Floyd rioters start throwing glass bottles at his bus. And he pulled over very late at night after dark, the bus full of people. He pulled over to assess damage from the glass bottles, and he was assaulted and almost killed by these despicable pieces of trash. They caused him permanent injury, permanent disfigurement, years and years of physical and mental therapy, operations and surgeries, procedures, massive infections. Because they beat him about the head, he lost all of his teeth. He has metal plates holding his face together now. The surgery, one of them was botched and caused a massive brain infection that put him in an ICU for 2 weeks. Another complication of the brain caused him to have a massive brain bleed that almost killed him, but caused him to become unconscious and fall in such a way that he fractured his shoulder in 7 places. He was near death more times than I can count in 4 years. From 2020 to 2024 when we moved here. And they were there rioting and throwing Molotov cocktails and beating people because they were rioting because of George Floyd's death. So if I don't have sympathy for George Floyd, if I don't have tolerance for gang violence, for rioters, for people rushing out of homeless camps, because that was actually the 4th assault in a week. Some guy came running out of a tent in the homeless encampment that he was passing by on his bus route while he was working. Rushed onto his bus, grabbed him by the shoulder, beat him up, spit on him. The guy had bloodshot eyes. He was slurring, obviously impaired. Another person tore his mask off. Another person punched him and spit on him while he's on the clock doing that thankless frickin' job. But I'm supposed to not judge people? One man's judgment is another man's opinion, and that opinion is based on life experience. And what I find is when people are triggered to the point of getting severely angry over a topic or a statement, it's because they look in the mirror and they see a reflection that they don't like. Maybe they're feeling defensive because they have someone who's struggling with drug abuse and alcohol abuse, and I get it. It is an addiction. It is a physical, mental, and emotional addiction. It is considered a disability. There are people that have to be committed because their drug addiction or their alcohol abuse is so bad that they're suffering from brain impairments, neurological impairments, and that will never come back. But I am also a person who believes in getting to the root cause. And if your drug and alcohol addiction is rooted in something such as my beloved stepfather, who was trying to struggle with excruciating pain for decades in the 50s, 60s, and 70s when all they had was morphine and they really didn't know a whole lot, absolutely, he became addicted. But he did the right thing. And when he made his choice, he stopped. And he stopped on his own, without treatment, without medical intervention, without AA. He did it on his own. So people can do it. They can do it. And it doesn't matter how you do it. If you have to go to AA every day, if you have to take antabuse or you have to take methadone or something like that, do what you have to do. But never think for a moment that I'm talking to you. And I will tell you, I don't know anything about this or I know anything about that. I know from personal direct experience why I hate George Floyd. why my heart is crushed for my state of Minnesota, because we live with this every frickin' day. And if you are judging me and you're from some other state somewhere, you don't know what you're talking about. Now, after, COVID and the betrayal of our local government because of COVID, remember Governor Walz put out the snitch line, sent cops to people's homes on Thanksgiving Day and Easter. You didn't live that, I did. It's here. Now we've got all this massive tax fraud. And you don't think I should be judgmental? You don't think I have a right to feel bad or angry about that? I'm sorry that you feel that way. But maybe you were triggered because you are an addict, or you know somebody who is, or you're protecting a child who is an addict and shouldn't be. So, I understand and I appreciate that people get angry. And I do try to warn you. If it's going to be a trigger warning, I do try to warn you so you can, if you can't handle it, to turn off the channel. Unfollow me. I don't mind. I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing this for clicks. This is my journal. This is my life. But I'm not going to apologize for why I say the things I do or feel the way I do, because I am living this experience. None of you were there for 4 years through the surgeries, the freakouts, the nightmares, the terror in his eyes. We couldn't even go grocery shopping. I would find him cowering in the storeroom. A man reached up to get a 6-pack of soda off a shelf, and he fell to his knees because the man resembled his attacker. I feel the way I do, and I'm not changing that, because forgiveness is for God. And the people that caused these George Floyd riots, that instigated, propagated, and encouraged them, are still in office today, still using my tax dollars for their paychecks. So no. If my life experience offends you and you think I'm judgmental, maybe you need to step back and look at why you don't like what I said, what triggered you to be angry. But you also have to step back and say, wow, I wonder what happened to her to make her feel that way. Well, that's what happened to me. So if I show no sympathy for George Floyd, the Somali fraud, tens of thousands of dollars I've lost in Somali fraud tax, or I don't have sympathy for our government body here, there's a reason for that. And that reason is my direct lived experience and how these things have directly affected me and my life and my husband. So I appreciate that you got angry. I appreciate that you feel I'm judgmental. I see every bit of that. I know exactly why you feel that I'm a judgmental person. And in your eyes, if I'm judgmental, I'm judgmental. I accept that. But now, if you're still listening, you know why I feel the way I do. So you can judge me for my direct experience and feeling that way, or you can just say, well, yeah, I kind of see now. Okay, now that you have the backstory. And people shouldn't always need to have to defend themselves, their feelings, their opinions. They shouldn't always have to give their life story in order to convince somebody that I'm really not judgmental. This is just my life story. I'm judgmental. I don't give a shit. I'm not here to impress anybody. I'm here to live my life experience with you, my loyal listener. And until next time, do good and be good.